What's up, Internet? It's another week of Coastal Drone Weekly Drone News, and this week we're talking about dogs being rescued by drones using chicken, drone light shows being shut down, drones in the news in Canada, and more leaks about the DJI Mavic 4. So a dog ran away from their dog sitter onto a frozen lake in Parsippany, New Jersey on Christmas Eve. The sheepadoodle, which was named Brooklyn and is under 2 years old, had ventured out onto the lake and refused to come back. I'm assuming this lake is frozen, otherwise it's a long swim. Drone operator Kishan Patel used his drone to help police officers, and he used a piece of chicken which was attached to the drone to lure the dog back. It was a bit of a cat and mouse game, as the dog didn't want to come back after seeing all the people around. I wouldn't want to either if I was out in the lake. They're able to gauge the thinness of the ice by using weights, and police made their way out there, but they spooked the dog so much that she kept running and was found in someone's porch and returned then to the dog sitter. It was a happy ending, of course, though, as the dog is now safe and sound. So the drone that they used is a DJI Mini, which is pretty cool given the fact that most of these stories we hear are being either enterprise or thermal or super expensive high-end drones. So it's cool to see something being done with a micro drone like the DJI Mini series. I guess we'll have to determine whether or not that chicken put the drone over 250 grams and whether or not they needed to register and all that stuff. But hey, we're just talking about chickens and drones right now, so let's go on. There's new photos of the DJI potential Mavic 4, which has been leaked by Quadro News on X. In the photo, the drone is seen in flight this time, meaning it's not just a premature design or a prototype. It appears to be much bigger in nature compared to the original Mavic 3. Bigger gimbal, bigger body, bigger battery, so we'll see what happens there. The same circular camera design that other leaks have shown is present in this photo as well. So it's got that same new kind of round gimbal design. We're working on a roundup of rumors and specs and leaks and everything about the Mavic 4, so keep an eye out on our channel for more details. We'll see.
Hey, it's Ian here again with a bit of an update. This morning we got a massive new set of leaks for the Matrice 4E and 4T, which will be the enterprise and thermal versions most likely. And these new set of images appear to be part of a marketing campaign for what looks to be the Matrice 4 series. Running them through Google Translate, we can kind of get some key details out of it. There's the 4E 4T with the thermal camera and or a wide angle large resolution camera. They both look to potentially have a laser rangefinder and also a multi-camera angle with like a telephoto and or potentially an infrared fill light. When we look specifically at the 4E model, like I said, it's got a wide angle camera probably for mapping and inspections, and then it also has a telephoto camera and then what looks to be probably a laser rangefinder module. So now we're going to have the ability to identify and locate spots without the thermal. Then the 4T version has all of the aforementioned with a probably smaller, lower resolution wide angle camera, a telephoto zoom camera, as well as a thermal sensing module so that it can see infrared thermal emissions in the dark. So both of the drones look like they have built-in RTK antenna systems now instead of having a modular backpack or top hat. There is still, it looks like, a modular mount on the top for the PSDK support. As you can see, there's pictures of a lighting and probably what looks to be a speaker module on the 4 thermal in this picture. Both of them are also going to be launched, it looks like, with the new updated DRTK version 3, which is the RTK ground station for GNSS enhancement. There's also mention of 4G enhanced image transmission, meaning that they would have some sort of cellular capability as well. Typically, we've only seen this in other markets, not in North America. It looks like it's going to have real-time people and vehicle detection as always, so AI assisted operation. So one of the new standout features potentially is an infrared fill and searchlight, which means it would have an infrared spotlight in addition to standard visible light. So if you're searching and you don't necessarily want the drone to be spotted, infrared would be not visible to the eye. It looks like the laser range-finding module is good for 1800 meters of range and about 100 meters of range for infrared fill light capability. Thermal camera has an updated resolution. It looks like so far the specs on here say 1280 pixels by 1024 pixels, which is a big jump from previous thermal cameras with an equivalent focal length of about 53 meters. These are probably the biggest leaks we've seen so far on the Mavic 4 Enterprise series, so we're definitely interested to see what this means and if this means potentially that these things are going to be launched soon, like CES next week maybe. They will support O4 transmission, which means there's most likely going to be a new controller for this as well as long range capability. Anyway, let us know in the comments what you think about these Matrice 4 potential leaks.
So an update to the drone light show accident in Orlando, which happened last week, just prior to the end of the year. The FAA has suspended the Part 107 waiver from the company behind the drone accident, which left drones falling out of the sky and sending them into the crowd, which then subsequently sent a 7-year-old boy to the hospital with critical life-threatening injuries. The suspension will remain in effect for the duration of the investigation following this incident. This is pretty typical. If you have an incident or an accident, the first thing that they want to do is mitigate the risk, and part of mitigating the risk is going to be to stop operations until they can determine why something went wrong. The company has since had to cancel, of course, their New Year's show, which would have been taking place at Central Park in New York. When it comes to risk, shows like this require an immense amount of preparation and coordination, so it's a good idea to take a step back and take a pause on operations when something like this happens so that people can understand what's going on and come to a root cause analysis on the event. Last week, I was on the news, and for a good thing, not a bad thing. We were actually part of a video on CBC's 2025 drone laws and what's going to happen for beyond line of sight operations. You can see yours truly showing how to hand launch and hand catch a drone. Unfortunately, nothing else from the interview seemed to make it into the final cut because it was cut short down to 2 minutes. Check it out if you're interested, and let us know if you have any burning questions about the Level 1 complex drone certification that is coming in 2025, and there's a lot in store there, so let's get excited because new laws, new drone regulations mean new privileges are going to be coming along, so let's get started on that. Last Saturday night, hundreds of people watched as Hong Kong held its first drone show that also included pyrotechnics. The show lasted for 10 minutes and featured 1,000 drones holding a giant panda theme in an effort to raise awareness of panda conservation. So not only was there 1,000 drones, but there was 1,000 drones plus fireworks at the same time, meant to amplify the designs and the display as it flew over Hong Kong's Victoria Harbor. Spectators, of course, were thrilled with the show, and some of them were saying that it could be good to attract more tourists to Hong Kong. If you're interested, we've got a whole podcast that dives into how drone light shows work and the process by which you get approval and go through the regulatory framework and start applying for an SFOC. So be sure to check out that podcast episode where we feature Pixel Sky Animations right out of here from Vancouver and the process by which they get drone light show approval and special flight operations certificates. And they most recently did a 1,000 drone light show here in Vancouver for the Grey Cup. So that's it for this week. Be sure to catch our podcast this Sunday at 10 a.m. Pacific. We'll be talking with Ignacio Romero, a professional FPV pilot and a manager for Team Canada FPV. He's done a lot. He's done racing, he's done filming, he's been all over the world with FPV drones that either he's built or that he's supported. In the meantime, check out last week's episode to find out what Canada's plans are for the future of drone delivery. Don't forget to like, subscribe, and hit that notification bell, and we'll see you next week. Happy New Year's, everyone.